All right, just got out watching Jordan Peele's new movie Nope, and wow, what a film. I'm gonna have my review out to you pretty soon here. Let me just preface by saying that this will be a spoiler review of the movie, so if you haven't seen the film, come back to this video later. Alright, let's begin. In the plot, O.J. Hayward, played by Daniel Kaluuya, and his sister Emerald, played by Keke Palmer, are Hollywood horse wranglers on a ranch. Then strange weather phenomena start affecting their horses and causing electrical outings. By the way, I love the casting choices in this film, particularly casting an actor like Michael Wincott, who, I haven't really seen since the 90s. You know, he was in The Crow and Strange Days.
Paranoia is just reality on a finer scale.
Hats off to Jordan Peele for casting him. I wanted to begin with the opening scene of the film where we see a chimpanzee covered in blood. There are bodies around. Then the chimpanzee looks straight at the camera and it goes black. And we don't make heads or tails of this scene until later in the film. It's explained through the character of Ricky. And Ricky is a former, we learn, child actor who OJ and his sister Emerald, they go to Ricky to buy back their horses that they've sold to him. Ricky tells them the story of Gordy's Home, which was a childhood family sitcom in the late 90s, which after its first season was canceled because of this tragedy where one of the apes playing Gordy was triggered on set and then went on a homicidal rampage and killed everyone except for Ricky. When Gordy's Home is introduced, I thought of this interview with Jordan Peele where he discusses some of the film influences upon him when he was writing the script for Nope. And two of those influences were King Kong and Jurassic Park. Both films very much about spectacle and the mass consumption of spectacle and then the dangers of that kind of consumption. And so when Gordy's Home is brought into this movie, I immediately said, oh, that's definitely an allusion to King Kong, because we learn that one of the triggers for Gordy, the ape playing Gordy, was when the jungle was mentioned. He would just make him go crazy and go manic. And of course, the jungle was originally Gordy's home that he was taken from and then taken captive from his home, just like King Kong was, and just like Kong made into this spectacle for mass consumption, basically made into a slave. And so I definitely saw this whole subplot of Gordy as kind of Peele doing his own kind of horror take on the King Kong story and making it kind of relevant to the way, we consume media today. I also appreciated how the design of the alien didn't look anything human-like or anything that I could reference or really pin down or put into a coherent structure. It was just a design that defied categories. Its mouth looked like a TV screen or a film screen monitor. Then, other parts of it looked shaped like a jellyfish. And then it had a bunch of abstraction to it. And I love when a creature is revealed, but even when it's revealed, it creates further mystery about itself. It just makes it more intriguing. What Peele does so well is that he takes those B-movie sensibilities or horror kind of formulas and brings the evil home, or brings the horror home. And so what I find when I'm watching a Jordan Peele horror film is the horror hits home harder, like in a film like Get Out, because that kind of horror is everyday horror. It's horror that people actually experience. It's not something that I could just detach and compartmentalize and watch in a movie. I think he's not trying to elevate horror. I think he's trying to say, listen, this is what the horror genre has always been about. What makes horror so appealing for a lot of people and come alive is because it's very much about our human experience. And Jordan Peele totally gets that, and I love him for it. This film is also gorgeously shot. The cinematography is stunning. Just the way Peele shoots the clouds and the sky, often from the point of view of the characters. You often get shots where the camera is moving with the characters from their point of view as they're looking at the sky, and it just gives a kind of scale and vastness to what they're looking at. I also heard that Peele allowed the actors to do improv. Letting them do improv just gives a naturalism to the acting, gives it a spontaneity. So I totally bought that Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer were brother and sister. They just had that chemistry. Nope is definitely a spectacle to see in the theaters. I loved it, and it was great to see something that I had no idea what it was going to be about going in, even though I knew UFOs or aliens would probably factor into it. I mean, I wasn't aware of time passing or whatever. I didn't get bored at all. I was just like very immersed in the moment, and it just swept me up. So it's great to have that like movie experience, like theater experience, where you pay to go to the movie theaters, and you want it to be great, and then it ends up delivering, and you're glad, man, yeah, that took me for a ride, and also I'm thinking about it afterwards. You know, it's a film I want to discuss and talk about, and so I love when it gives me that feeling. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.